Hey y'all, how are you doing? I am great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I'm back for another video. We are here for the long awaited, like a few days, awaited follow up to my Harry and Meghan review. That was about Harry and Meghan, the record breaking Netflix documentary, parts 1 through 3. 4 through 6 came out last Friday, and juicy, compelling, head scratching. You know what I mean? Like, I have some questions. Okay. And so we are going to talk about that tonight. Wow, set up to my new setup. The camera is just a little bit different. Oh, man. People have been asking me about the details about the new setup and how I figured it out and the camera that I use. I just bought this new ring light setup. How we're getting the live streams to look so crispy. I do plan to outline that. I actually plan to do a full year in review to talk about the business stuff and the technological stuff. If you want to be privy to that, sign up for the email newsletter, the Substack. That link is in the description box below. We have a lot of housekeeping stuff to get through, so let's hurry up and get to it. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about. Oh my gosh, you guys, we had so much fun at the Christmas party on Saturday. It was great. It just was. I am so appreciative to everybody who came out and had fun and indulged in the open bar. I know y'all did, because that bar tab. Thanks for everybody who, played along my Kimberly's bingo game. It was a good time. Planning events is stress, right? Like, I had fun, but it was work. But it was fun work, and it makes me want to do even more stuff. Like, don't make me become a party planner. Okay, don't make me become a club promoter. Okay, because I'm excited to do the next one. I think we're going to do something around Valentine's Day. More parties, different cities, different places. It really made me motivated, like, yeah, to do it. Thanks to everybody who dressed according to the theme. Sequins, glitter, red, silver. It was great. I also loved that venue. If you want to keep up with the next events that I do in Dallas and elsewhere, again, you got to sign up for the Substack, because one of the reasons why there just weren't a whole lot of tickets at the end, maybe like 10 or 15 at the end, is because we went paywall people, and then we went newsletter people, and then we went public at the very end. So I know that there were a couple of people literally like the day before and the day of, and I was like, no, at capacity. Thank you so much. Okay. Man, what a time. Also, shout out to the photographer. Tim did a great job. Those pictures look great. Okay. And all of those pictures are now up on my website. Okay, next thing. We are a handful of days away from Christmas, which I can't even believe it. I decided that I wanted to like do some coloring. And so I was just clicking around, looking around for like coloring books that were about Christmas and holidays and winter that featured Black girls. And I just didn't see any, so I just commissioned it. Like, I just had some made. Obviously, it's not a coloring book. It's 5 coloring pages filled with Black girls with Santa and, enjoying, wintertime and, all that. That has been given for free to everybody behind the paywall. If you're interested in those Black girl Christmas coloring pages, honestly, they literally came out so good. They are so cute. It's 50 cents a page. It's $2.50. That is linked down below. But yeah, literally, first of all, great idea. Second of all, shout out to the illustrator, because she did amazing. Love that. I hope you guys are having a happy holidays. I really, really am. My I'm about to freak out because Christmas shopping not super done, and in Dallas we're about to have like some crazy Arctic front or storm, and you know I'm not going outside. If it's less than 20 degrees, Kimberly ain't going outside. Okay, so that's that on that. Finally, merch. I today am wearing my Are Y'all here we go. Are Y'all Okay? I am wearing the set because it's cold as hell outside. This is in Dusty Rose. It's hard for me because it's up, so I have to look up now, okay? This is in Dusty Rose. Shout out to everybody who's bought it. We also have the I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. Journal. Ooh, and the new thing that I've added to my own personal Kimberly Nicole Foster merch collection are the phone cases. It's so cute. Okay, so I will say that I definitely prefer the glossy phone case. Sorry, of course, my face is in it, so it's not going to focus on me. Okay, I definitely prefer the glossy to the matte, so I've just made the glossy the only version available. On there, there's also stickers. Wow, you know that I love. This is my favorite part, where I pull up how many merch orders we have. And right now it's 352 since the merch launched. Wow, thanks you guys. It's been great. Okay, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I'm gonna look at the comments. I'm a little nervous because I'm sure y'all are mad because we did have to push this back. I mean, yesterday I was trying to get this stuff together, but I was also caking, you know what I mean? Being fast, you know? It's cupping season. And today, you know, and I said, oh, I'm getting my hair done tomorrow anyway, so we might as well just push it. And then today, you know, the woman who did my hair, it's a different person that I normally go to, and she was great. You know, took longer than I was expecting. Okay. So, you know, we're just here. But we made it. That's what matters. Let me look at the comments. Okay, so everybody is getting hit with the weather. Okay, Kim, the girls have been fiending. Obviously, the girls have been fiending. Okay, so before we really get into get that down there. Before we get into actually talking about the meat and potatoes of the documentary, there are some contextual things that I wanted to get out of the way. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was the questions that people had about the demographics of where Meghan Markle is from. And this is also another reason why I wasn't able to get on yesterday, because I could have just talked about the documentary and my feelings, but I had some contextual questions, some pieces that I needed to find to complete the puzzle for me. And one of the pieces was looking at the 1990 census information to see the actual racial makeup of the area that Meghan Markle grew up in. This is real pop culture / Kimberly nerd shit. We're getting into it. Okay, so this is from the 1990 census. In 1990, Meghan would be 10-ish, right? Okay, so the home that she and her mother moved into after her mother divorced her father was in Mid-Wilshire. Okay, so we see in Mid-Wilshire was 19.5% black. Okay, it was 30.7% white, non-Hispanic white. Not barely any American Indians, Asian, 25% Asian we see there. Other race, 15.2%, Hispanic, 26%. Y'all see? Okay. So that is a very diverse area. So we know that Meghan lived in Mid-Wilshire in Los Angeles until high school, when she moved primarily in with her father, who lived in Hollywood, because her father's apartment or home where he lived, it was really, really close to the high school that she went to. So that's where, the high school years were. But, formative years, elementary, middle school, she lived in an incredibly, incredibly diverse area. Okay. Now, she went to private school, of course. And of course, we know private schools are going to skew towards the most privileged people. And the most privileged people in the United States of America are white people. But certainly, right, from day to day, rainbow. Okay. That's important, I think. Okay. Oh, also, it's another thing is that Meghan has family that she was close to, grew up around, had lots of intimate connection with, not really on the father's side, right? There's the whole thing about her only having seen the woman now known as Samantha Markle, that's not her real name, only a couple of times, but all up in the Black family. Okay, so here is, let's bring up what I saw about the Black family, because this is interesting. Let's see. Is it coming up? No? Okay, let's just bring it up this way then. Okay, this is from the Daily Mail. This is the tabloid publication that now has a very intense vendetta against Meghan Markle. But this was in the early days when they still were liking her. They were excited about her. They knew that positive coverage of Meghan was going to get lots and lots of engagement. And so we get stuff like this. Meghan, the first photo, only hours in the old arms of her mother. Duchess of Sussex is a gorgeous unseen album of baby photos shared by her adoring uncle as she prepares for the birth of her own first child. Okay, okay. Scroll. Oh, cutie. Oh, let me make sure to take off the... Oh gosh, Doria looks so young there, and she was young. Oh, look at Meghan. Cute little baby. Okay, and here we get her grandmother, her mother's mother, and Doria, Granny Jeanette. And Granny Jeanette. Oh, we literally love Black matriarchs. We love a Black maternal figure. More the 80s, man. So cute. Okay. More. Okay, so this is her uncle, Joseph Johnson, her mother's brother. Okay, so what I saw from this is that, the other thing I think I wanted to show, maybe we can play it. We can play a little bit of this.
And we are back. $16,000.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to move, so my room is just a mess.
Not knowing all that was in store for her. It's been almost 4 months since the day she became royalty, and now we are just weeks away from Meghan making her first extended royal tour. Daily Mail contributor Victoria Arbiter joins us now with more details. So Victoria, where are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex headed exactly?
Well, Jesse, Harry and Meghan are preparing to embark on an extensive 2.5-week tour down under. Kensington Palace released their official itinerary this week. From the moment they touch down in Sydney, where they'll launch this year's Invictus Games, the couple will have back-to-back engagements before travelling on to the islands of Fiji and Tonga, returning to Sydney and wrapping things up in New Zealand. Now, during this tour, much of the focus will be on honouring military veterans at the Invictus Games, but there'll also be special focus on young people, the environment and conservation. observation. Harry and Meghan are hoping to avoid the more staid affairs and meet as many people as possible.
And it really sounds like an important trip. What does this tour mean for?
Okay, so I wanted to show that to give an example of how kind of positive and fawning the coverage of Meghan was in the few months after. That was 4 months after their big, huge wedding. But it was very, we were excited, and she had just, announced the pregnancy, and oh my gosh, and what are they gonna do, right? Like, we definitely see a marked difference in the tone there when they were still on the good side to now where, yes, it is very nasty and vicious and virulent. Okay. But I wanted to underscore that Doria did have a good, close relationship with both of her Black parents. Obviously, we see Doria's mother, Jeanette, there. Doria lived with her father. Jeanette died when she was 71, I believe in the year 2000. Not me knowing all of these now random facts about Meghan Markle, but I read things and it sticks with me. So Jeanette passed away 20-something years ago. Then Doria lived with her father, Meghan's grandfather, Alvin, in a house together until he passed away in 2011. So there was lots of interaction. Doria has 2 half-siblings. Alvin Johnson. She has 2 half-siblings, something Johnson. Joseph Johnston and Sandra Johnson. And they all lived together, grew up together. The aunt and uncle live in California. The aunt and uncle also have children. So Meghan has cousins. And from what I was able to glean, there was lots of interaction between the whole Black side of the family. Okay. So it's not like she was completely disconnected from intimate bonds, intimate relationships, particularly when it comes to family. I think that's really important. Okay. Something, though, that I think is interesting now is that her uncle has very clearly decided that he's taking some Daily Mail checks. I forgot to add this. Let me see. Meghan Markle, uncle. Okay, Black uncle. Sorry. Because there was one article from the Mail that I thought, oh, how did they get this? One second. Uncle Joseph. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So her uncle obviously is talking to the press now. They have to be getting money because it's like, how are y'all getting these like old school pictures, family pictures of Meghan and her aunt and like everybody? Ooh, Kim, I have this. Let me see if I see it. Is it at the bottom? Oh, this is so annoying and crazy. Whatever, you guys want to see it, so I'll just, oh yes, this is the one that I meant to do. Sorry, we're gonna add it real fast. Okay, I know what happened now. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. Where is it, Kim? Oh, this one. Okay. I don't know why it's not coming up. I don't know why I'm having technical difficulties today. We've been doing so good. Don't show out. Don't show out right now. Don't show out right now. Keep it together. Let's show this. So this is a picture taken when Meghan was really, really young with her father, her mother, and her grandfather, grandmother, and Sandra, the aunt. Very typical. I mean, man, all the photos of black people from the 80s, they look so similar. Like literally could be a picture that my mom took, or one of her 8 siblings, or one of my father's 8 siblings. Oh gosh. I hate to do that because I know that that's my niece. You guys, I think that was my niece. I might have to answer my niece's phone call in the live stream. I'm sorry, you guys, but hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Kim.
Are y'all about to leave?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to have to call you back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye. Sorry, I'm actually not sorry. Okay, so yes, I think that we have that background, lived in a very diverse neighborhood, lots of interaction with the black side of the family, a lot less interaction with the white side of the family. She definitely did not just discover that she was black. Okay, so that is that on that. Remove. Next, the next thing that we have to talk about. I'm going to show that to them and show how devoted I am. I answered the phone call. Okay, the next thing that I have to respond to is like internet foolishness. It's always, I'm an exciting Twitter follow, because you never know what's going to pop up on my Twitter feed. I was telling somebody last night that so much of my job is saying things that are obvious to me but offensive to others. And people really respond aggressively, you know what I mean? Viscerally, to what seemed to me to be very like banal, like unassuming, like self-evident truths. So now we have to talk about the Twitter stuff. Okay. Let's do ooh. Well, I guess we can just go to me. This is my timeline. Not me not knowing how Twitter works, girl. Wait, my profile? Oh, this is me. Okay. So where did it all start? Oh, it all began... Oh, look at me looking cute there. It all began here. Okay, so somebody tweeted, I finally watched that Harry and Meghan doc, and baby, we gotta get our girls some black girlfriends. Cringe face. I responded, if a 40-plus-year-old black woman has no black women in her life besides her mother, the greatest athlete alive, Serena Williams, and Oprah, there's a reason for that. Honestly, I was trying to be nice because what I really wanted to say is if she doesn't have black women in her life besides the world's first black woman billionaire, the greatest athlete to ever live, her mother, and the women she hires to care for her children, then there's a reason for that. But I didn't add that last part because I said, you know what, Kim, that last part, that's needless. Don't be like that. Be better than that. So I did. I kept it to myself. But, oh, baby, it got the people going. That very, for people who have eyes, truth. Oh, It upset the masses. So many people said, "You don't know. How do you know? We don't know." We've seen all of these pictures of her from adolescence and post-adolescence and college, and we saw pictures of her wedding, and we saw pictures from her friend's baby shower, and we've only seen one black woman there, but you don't know. There could be, let me remove this. There could be a trove. There could be a trove of pictures of Meghan surrounded by black women. We just don't know. They didn't choose to put it in the Netflix documentary that is the most viewed documentary in the history of Netflix. No. The one that they produced, the one that they carefully constructed to articulate a narrative about who Harry and Meghan are. No, they did not put any pictures of Meghan surrounded by black women. Nope. Before now, she didn't choose to share that on her own. Before now, all of the people that the many tabloids have gone to dig up dirt about her, we've never unearthed this treasure trove of evidence that Meghan is just a black woman's black woman. How can we know? Okay. All right. So there's a couple of things here. I think that, do I want to say this nicely or do I want to be brutally say how I really feel? How I really feel is there is something pathological by the number of black women that I've interacted with over the past day or so who are so eager to choose Meghan when Meghan wouldn't choose them. As adults, we have complete control over our social worlds. And how we choose to construct our social worlds does say something, maybe not everything, about who we are, who we imagine ourselves to be, who we want to be, where we feel the most comfortable. But it does say something. As a kid, you don't have control over that. As a teenager, you have a little bit more agency. You get to college and you have complete control, right? And everybody is looking to connect. Everybody's looking to meet new people. That's why so many of our deepest and most long-lasting friendships are the people we meet when we're 17, 18, 19, 20. Because we're looking, you know? But also, college is where we firm up our self-identifications. Because that's the first time for a lot of us that we get to do that work outside, completely away from the gaze of our parents, completely away from the gaze of our community of origin, our neighborhood of origin. So yeah, like the people you pick up in college matter, but of course, right, we grow, and along the way, we still pick up more people. I'm gonna say that no, I don't believe that it is a reasonable belief to assume that there are 20 black women, hardcore, long-time Meghan friends that we're just not seeing. That's delusion. It's delusion. But also, okay, right? Like if Meghan sees herself a certain way, if she feels most comfortable, like among these people, if she just gravitates naturally to certain kinds of people, okay. Let's be fine with that, right? Like, let's not try to, push, let's call 911, call the black girl prayer squad for Meghan. That's who she needs. Nope. Right? Like, actually, as a person who loves black women, who, actively seeks them out, who has been on this community building journey, no, don't tap into the love and care and support and affection of black women when you're drowning. You know what I mean? Like, don't just tap into the love and care and support and affection of black women when you need somebody to care for your child, or when you need somebody to sing gospel at your wedding. No. I'm so cool. Right? Like, we should be so cool with people choosing their choice. But y'all are in denial about the choice. And that's sad. I find that to be sad. I think it's sad that y'all are choosing her and she's not choosing you. But I also think it's sad the way that me pointing out, a very obvious thing, the way that it prompted people to attack me using very obviously anti-black tropes. Now, this is... Now, how you gonna defend this lady's blackness? And by the way, right, choosing to proximate yourself away from cultural blackness or away from black people does not mean that you're not black. It does not strip you from your blackness. Please. Am I gonna say Clarence Thomas isn't black? No. And I'm not saying Meghan Markle isn't black. That is a black biracial woman. But I am fascinated by the way that in defending this woman's honor, in trying to defend her blackness, people jumped straight to the anti-blackness towards me. Actual black woman who loves black people. Who didn't wait until her life was a fucking mess to make sure y'all see me posed up with other blackers. I'm just saying, the way that people weaponize angry, jealous, I'm like, what? Huh? And you know what this really says to me? Ooh, but I wanted to pull up one particular example of the jealous thing, because I saw this in comments on the last live stream about the first part of this, and I wanted to address it, but then when it got directed toward me, I said, oh, we gotta go there. Let me make sure that I can pull this up. Ooh. Oof. Sorry. Thought I had it. Didn't have it. Oh, here it is. Oh, gosh. I absolutely love that I answered my niece's phone call in the middle of this, but I had to. They're going to go away for the holiday, and I had to talk to them. Okay. So somebody said, girl, find some other way to deal with your own self-loathing. It's not Meghan's fault that the brothers are attracted to her over girls like you in the college dorm. Could it be that your attitude as opposed to your darker skin tone? What? What? Now, actually, I appreciate Maria for saying that, because most people, when they are trying to get at that idea, they say it in a much more coded, layered, nuanced way. So they will say, oh, it feels vaguely jealous. It feels like you're jealous. Are you jealous? And I will say, what actually here? What have I said here that would indicate that I'm jealous? But it's not because of what I said. It's because of how I look that people are assuming that brown skin, dark skin, it depends on how you feel. I'm not doing this Kimberly dark skin debate today. Dark skin, brown skin, big nose, kinky hair, big lips, big ass face, Kimberly has to be jealous. It's just gotta be burning. Why can't I wake up tomorrow and be fair-skinned, 3C hair, nose job Meghan? It is people, once again, weaponizing anti-Black desirability against me in order to prop up a woman who, as a Black person, is as proximate to whiteness as it gets. Well, one step away from as proximate to whiteness as it gets. We'll get into that a little bit later. And you know what this really, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I love when ideas that I've been mulling over, when they coalesce with like actual events like this. Because what this makes clear to me, and we see it here, clear as day, most Black women don't actually have a problem with colorism. Yeah, not even, honestly, I don't even think most of the dark-skinned Black women activists really have a problem with colorism. No. They don't have a problem with inequality, right? Because when you start talking about and the legal system and employment and housing, that's not really the focus. They have a problem with not being picked. And sometimes the people who don't pick them are men. And sometimes the people who don't pick them are Meghans. And a lot of people see this as an opportunity to be a different kind of pick-me. We're super familiar with the people who are eager to throw other Black women under the bus for the attention and affection and adoration of men. We see it every day. But something that I've picked up on, and I've been, trying to refine this idea, the people who are pick-me's for the non-men who occupy the highest rungs of power within Blackness. The people who will run to the non-men because they understand that the non-men who have the most power, whether it's money or, via their phenotype, they have the most access, they have the most resources, they are people who embody their quote-unquote dream life. And so if you question that, you're jealous. Okay. All right. It's weird. You guys, it's weird. First of all, because everybody knows that I am fair. I am nothing if not fair. Even if I have some questions for Meghan, even if I point out that when Meghan has decided to tell the story of her life, that she has told the story, intentionally excluding Black women who are not employees or the richest, most famous Black women in the world. I still feel a lot of empathy for her. I'm not trying to strip her of her Blackness. I still think that what happened to her, both within the royal family and in the tabloid media, is absolutely wrong. but that's not enough. Anything other than unqualified, unquestioning, effusive praise is an attack. And that's when the pick-me's for the Black biracials descend, and they really descended on me today. Interesting phenomena. We're gonna have to tease that out some more, because that's a thing, for sure. Anyways, just people generally talking about, Black women being generally jealous of biracial women. Black women are the most embracing, accepting group of people. We can have our, stories about individual biracial women being teased or picked on or whatever, but we know that in general, no matter what space these people occupy, they are going to be embraced. They are going to be welcomed. People are going to roll out the red carpet for them. That's how privilege works. You know what I mean? I feel, we the same thing happens for men, all men, all Black men, really. All Black men. Yeah. That's a thing. But it's weird, right? When I, made, again, the very undeniable and self-evident observation that Meghan is not a Black woman's Black woman, that people said, well, what if she had been teased? And what if she had been bullied? And what if she had been picked on? And what if all of the nasty, ugly, jealous Black girls made her life a living hell? And that's why I'm like, now, are y'all listening? Are y'all listening to yourselves? Because when Black men say the exact same thing, we say, get the fuck over it. Get help. Right? Like, as an adult, I can feel empathy for whatever alienation that you felt as a kid, because I've said I felt alienation, and I sometimes felt like I didn't belong and whatever. But it was my choice as I got older to say, but I actually really want these bonds. I actually really want these connections. And so, yes, I speak like this and can, move in and out of, frankly, whatever racial or ethnic group, but I do, right? I desire sisterhood with Black women. So I'm going to invest myself in that. That's a choice that particularly people with resources have the ability to make. But y'all know that. Y'all do. Okay, let's go to the comments. Being at the bottom of the hierarchy when the biracial buffer class falters, they know we'll catch them and lift them high so they will not fall down to our level. I have a good friend from college who's biracial and has quite a few Black friends. She's more close to her mom's side, who's white. Okay. Meghan lived in Toronto for 7 years, diverse. We have a large Black artist community here. Okay, yeah, I mean, there's just not an actual, like, real, legitimate explanation other than she just didn't want to. And the same way, like, when Black men just don't want to date Black women, if they just don't want to befriend Black people, we say that's fine, go over there. Just don't bring it over here. I feel the exact same way about people who decide to construct a world in which regular, average, everyday Black women are almost entirely absent. That's fine. Choose your choice. Okay. Do I have anything else? Oh, the other thing is, I don't like the jealous trope. Sorry, let's hide this. The other thing is, I do have a real problem with the jealous trope being, let's stop sharing this. I have a real problem with that stuff being directed at Black women, because we now know from watching the documentary that it was a cabal of white women who were disseminating so much hate and malice and violence and nastiness. It was white women, both everyday white women and, you know, the people who are, you know, buying the British tabloids, the people who are chatting about it on British television. Of course, there's white men too, you know, shout out to Piers Morgan. It's those people who drove her away from her home, right? It's those people who are sending the death threats and the nastiness and spreading the falsehoods. It's not Black women. So again, the same way that we say to Black men who want to talk about how Black girls wanted the thugs when they were 13, I'm going to say the same thing to the Black biracial defenders, the Black biracial pygmies, who are trying to drum up imaginary tragic mulatto fan fiction in support of Meghan Markle. Stop that. In order to throw other Black women under the bus. It's fucking weird. Get some self-esteem. Respect yourself. Anyways. Anything else? Oh, I've also said, right? I've gone a lot easier. I have empathy. La la la, la la la. Okay. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about. The next thing, I wanted to talk about the social construction of race. Okay. I just have a lot of just like background stuff to discuss. Oh, the comments are moving. The comments are moving. Ooh. Oh, Beyonce people said, okay, Beyonce. Of course, it's like wasn't there a question about, oh, well, how did she get your number, right? Okay. Anyways, sorry, let me close the comments because I'm going to be distracted. We see over and over again these very superficial kind of, I'll say like popular, you know what I'm saying? It's like pop culture takes on race that people are projecting onto Meghan. And it just makes me think about how when I decided 15 years ago that I was going to get a degree in African American studies, people had so many questions, you know, like, why would you do that? You're Black. Why would you want to study the history, culture, and conditions of Black people? Oh, you're just going to read about Blackness and Black people and how we got here all day. Why would you want to do that? When is that ever going to come in handy? But as an African American studies major, y'all be so loud and wrong about how race was created and how race is created. So when I talk about Meghan Markle's race, I am not approaching it just from consuming the same, you know, YouTube videos that everybody else is watching. I'm approaching a discussion about Meghan Markle and her racial identity and the consequences of that racial identity as somebody who has, you know, starting 15 years ago and who does currently engage deeply with a wide array of scholarship around not only skin color, you know, colorism, but how race is made in the United States and across the globe. Okay, so there are certain things that people say that they believe to be true that just aren't true. Okay, people only view race through the lens of social interactions. And that is just not how race works now, nor is that how it has ever worked. So the very popular take is, she doesn't look black to me, so she's not black. And that's the end of it. No, that's not the end of it. That's not the end of it now. That has never been the end of it. Moreover, the erroneous idea that there is one singular, unchanging definition of who is what is wrong. It changes from place to place, time period to time period, person to person. The boundaries of blackness are incredibly mutable. And that's why we are always fighting each other about this shit. So anyways, in thinking through why people cannot get over the if you don't look black, you're not black thing, I started to think about a book that I read a long, long time ago called A Chosen Exile by a scholar named Allyson Hobbs. And I think that we should listen to Allyson talk about the phenomenon of passing. Just a couple minutes, because I think it's really interesting.
During the Jim Crow era, segregated living and working arrangements created the necessary conditions for passing to flourish, but also for this practice to undermine black families and communities. This period also witnessed the Great Migration, the massive and unprecedented migrations of African Americans out of the South that allowed racially ambiguous people to travel and to try on new identities in the anonymity of northern cities. One woman described her grandmother's journey from Mississippi to Chicago. Once in Chicago and no longer immediately identifiable as Lula's daughter, her grandmother could easily enter the white world. This was one of the most common forms of passing during the Jim Crow era, working white while living black, 9-to-5 passing, as it was often called, which allowed nearly white men and women to access employment slated for whites only. Simply mentioning that a family member had a white-collar job became shorthand for passing as white, given the strict segregation of employment opportunities. Others passed as white, temporarily or situationally, to seek respite from Jim Crow living every now and then. In a 1932 letter to Carl Van Vechten, novelist Nella Larson passed while in the company of James Weldon Johnson's light-skinned wife, Grace. And this is what Nella Larson wrote to Carl Van Vechten. "You will be amused that I, who have never tried this much discussed passing stunt, have waited until I reached the Deep South to put it over. Grace Johnson and I drove about 50 miles south of here the other day, and then walked to the best restaurant in a rather conservative town called Murfreesboro, and demanded lunch and got it, plus all the service in the world and an invitation to return. Everybody here seems to think that quite a stunt." Larson's letter reveals the type of momentary passing that became commonplace during the Jim Crow era, but it also reveals the fun and the theatrics of passing. Convincing performances required gumption, resourcefulness, and no small measure of humor. The sheer joy of getting over and, quote, fooling our white folks, as Langston Hughes put it, made passing a means of poking fun at a racial system laden with absurdities about racial purity. Walter White, the racially ambiguous executive secretary of the NAACP, made a practice of putting his blonde hair and blue eyes to use to enter the South during the 1920s to investigate lynching. White must have laughed nervously when he sat next to a white man on a train who bragged that he had special expertise in identifying blacks who passed as white. Taking White's hand into his own and pointing at White's cuticles, the man explained that if White had black blood, it would show on his fingernails, an antiquated belief about a telltale sign of black racial identity. In a country obsessed with racial distinctions, passing demonstrated just how unreliable one's appearance was in
Okay. So Dr. Hobbs, sorry, let's be respectful. Dr. Hobbs ended that on saying that passing, the phenomenon that occurred into the mid-20th century in the United States, it served to underscore how unreliable physical appearance was in making determinations about one's race. How unreliable physical appearances in making definitive determinations about race. So, in order to have a conversation about Meghan Markle's racial identity in 2022, we do have to be firmly rooted in that history. And I think what makes this really complicated is that as people keep, pointing out, is that race and racial identity function in the United States differently than it does in the UK, differently than it does in other parts of the world. But if we're talking about how Meghan sees herself, how her mother sees her, I do think it's important to think about how race is constructed here. Yeah. The other thing about passing that I thought was interesting when I went back and revisited that book, because people say, oh, she's white passing. Again, you cannot pass for any extended period of time if people know you have a black parent. You just cannot. So we can say no. And Meghan will say herself, did she get the black girl treatment? Nope, she didn't. She didn't. But nobody was under the delusion that Meghan is white after they see her mother. So she can't pass. She can pass situationally if she's completely detached from that association. But in the world, post engagement announcement, can't pass. Because how we are treated in the racial context, but just generally, is determined not just by how we show up in the world, it is determined by our associations. And I was like, oh gosh, people are just not getting this. They're not getting this. What can you use, Kim? What can you use to make it clearer? The nepotism baby conversation. Oh, girls, the Nepo baby conversation has the Nepo babies. They're tying themselves in knots. You know what I mean? I just saw Kate Moss's sister say something really dumb. And so, when a person walks into a room and you don't know anything about them, okay, you develop feelings about them. You're like, oh, this is a smart person. This is a dumb person. This is a beautiful person. This is a not. Oh, they probably had this experience. They haven't had that experience, because you have no context, okay? But if a person walks into a room and you're automatically developing all of these ideas about them and who they are and how you should treat them and where you should put them over there, yeah, you're like, oh, is this a pretty person? Is this an unattractive person? Because we are always judging people by whether or not we think that they're attractive. But then that person that you have these ideas about, they say, oh, I'm Meryl Streep's daughter. And immediately you're like, oh, that's Meryl Streep's daughter and this, and she must have been there. No, is she spoiled? Is she not? I wonder if she can act. Can she sing? Can she what? Whatever. Because her association with her mother alters your feelings about her. It also impacts her ability to navigate space, to enter space, to be excluded from space. Maybe she doesn't look like Meryl Streep. Maybe she can't sing, dance, act. Maybe she's not an incredible director. But because you know that, I think Meryl Streep's daughter, her name is Mamie. Just because you're Mamie, you are gonna orient yourself differently toward her. The same thing happens with race. And it's not just anecdotal, it's empirical, it's been studied. Literally, if you say you have a black father, if you say you have an Asian, if you say that you're multiracial, if you say it, people treat you differently. If you say it, you don't even have to pull up the Instagram. You don't even have to pull up the Facebook. So yes, absolutely. It matters that we know who her mother is and that her mother is all up in the pictures and at the wedding and holding the baby. It matters when we're talking about her racial identity. Okay. So, how much those associations move the needle differs from person to person, context to context. In the US context, it didn't move the needle, like all the way to the other side, because we have our own, specific things about phenotype. But in the UK, baby, yeah, they weren't fucking with it, right? It moved the needle a lot. It doesn't matter if you think she doesn't look black. Okay, let's go to the comments. Okay. Oh, and the other thing is, and I also meant to say, in the U.S. context, let's, okay, the first thing I'm going to say before we get to the next illustration of this is we absolutely do not get memes of Meghan and Archie as monkeys if people don't know who her mother is. We don't. We might have questions, like there might have been questions about, what are you? And looks a little tan or whatever. But without the black mother, we don't get monkey memes. We don't get Straight Out of Compton on the front pages of tabloids without the black mother. That association is not obvious without being able to clearly trace the lineage. Okay. So I said that on that. So yes, I would say Meghan Markle is black biracial, black mixed race. The other thing people are saying, oh, she's not black, she's biracial. What does biracial say to you? It's a descriptor, but it doesn't actually give us enough detail about, not Kimberly and her African American studies bag. Oh, they never knew the African American studies degree was gonna come in handy like this. They didn't. They doubted me. But biracial is a descriptor of some measure of admixture. But it's not a descriptor of race. So do you think that somebody who was white and Asian would have been treated the exact same way as Meghan Markle, who is white and black? No. Do we believe that somebody who in the world, let's take this out of the royal family context, who is Asian and Native American, would they be treated the same way as Meghan Markle? No. So yes, she is biracial, sure, yeah, nobody's denying that, but she's also black. So yeah, I think it's useful for us to put those two nouns together, okay? A little compound identity for us to get a really accurate idea and understanding of what exactly is going on here. Lastly, my last thing on this. Number one, shout out to Allyson Hobbs. Shout out to Nella Larson, who wrote Passing, which was a pretty good movie starring, what is that? The biracial lady name. She dated Janelle Monáe. Passing starred, I have to look it up. Passing movie starring Tessa Thompson. I knew it was a T. And Ruth Negga. Okay, finally, the final thing that we're going to talk about the U.S. construction of race is I'm going to introduce y'all to this man. This is G.K. Butterfield. G.K. Butterfield is the former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Because he is black. And there's no amount of, well, he doesn't look and that he's not, and he doesn't have kinky. He's black. He has served in the U.S. House of Representatives for, I'm not even sure, a long time, a minute. But to me, this man looks whiter than Meghan Markle. Nose, hair, ain't no straightening combs, you know what I mean? That ain't a silk press. Just general skin color, black. Accepted by black people, not questioned. Now, I thought it would be useful for us to look at GK's parents. Because I'm fascinated. Mm, okay. So this is him. He's from North Carolina. He used to be on the North Carolina State Supreme Court. Okay, we see him, and now these are his parents. Yeah. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Yeah, so these are pictures. I don't think anybody would debate whether or not his parents look like black people. I mean, I'm not willing to debate it. Y'all can debate it. Yeah, that's his father. But there he is, looking how he looking. Black, lived on the black side, 75 years old. Anyways, I wanted to say that to say, oh, now currently he is the House Democratic, the senior chief deputy whip, and I think he's about to leave. I said all that to say that in the United States, the idea that there are no people who have two black parents who look like Meghan or look lighter than her is just not true. That is not true. They have a black experience. They have experienced legal, racial discrimination. They have the lineage. They have all of the markers. So we can talk about how being mixed race confers certain advantages. We can talk about how the way that she shows up in the world confers many, many advantages. But that is still not enough to strip her of blackness. It's just not. Not in the U.S. context. Woo, wow, exhaustive. I'm nothing if not thorough. Okay, now it's finally time for us. It's finally time for us to move into the meat and potatoes of this. Okay. Ooh, one more thing. I have one more little chart. Now, the way that Meghan her racial identity is perceived in the way that she identifies is changing because the way that people generally identify is changing. I thought it'd be useful for us to look at this, the number of people in the United States who are claiming multiracial identity, exponential growth. We love that for them. They have their own thing, right? So that's an important descriptor, right, of their experience. But if we are getting, especially in a country that is rooted in, built upon anti-black racism, if we are trying to parse out the forces that affect the way that they are able to navigate the world, the way that they navigate pushback, in the West in particular, we have to specifically name the black part of it. Okay. We're on the same page? Wow. Let's get into the actual documentary. Whew. So the first part of this is about the actual wedding. Something that I've thought for a long time is that until recently, people got married to show to the world that they are taking the final step into adulthood, that they are ready to cut the cord, that they're ready to be on their own, that they are, strong and proud. And the way that both of them talked about getting married, it reinforced that idea. The whole discussion of the wedding was really interesting. I've seen people be skeptical of Meghan's naivete. And I follow the Shade Borough on Instagram because I want to know what the UK black girlies are talking about. I want to know the UK mess. So I follow the Shade Borough, and there was a black woman saying, oh, how could she not know that there were going to be people lining the streets for miles? I mean, I don't know, obviously she's not getting the briefings. Like Harry is obviously not sitting her down. Nobody is telling her what this is going to be like. So I'm not super skeptical of the idea that she was shocked or amazed by the fact that on her wedding day, despite the fact that, of course, she knew it was going to be seen by billions of people, that all of these people lining the streets supporting her was a pleasant surprise. I completely forgot that Prince Charles walked her down the aisle. As we reviewed last time, her father is trifling, so he did not show up to the wedding. Prince Charles did it. I'm also interested in Meghan describing Charles as charming. I thought of many things when I think about Prince Charles, but I never think of him as charming, engaging. Just generally, Meghan is pretty laudatory, pretty positive about the royal family, which is something we'll get into later. Okay. I did like the gospel choir. I thought it was a nice touch. The wedding, we saw all of the wedding details. Again, wasn't a big fan of that dress, but it is what it is. But then we got to the reception. Now, the discussion of the reception for me is when things really picked up. I thought she looked incredible at the reception. Loved that dress way more. It was so fun to be able to see their private pictures and videos from the reception and how genuinely fun it looked, right? We compared that to the, big castle wedding, which is just formal, gospel choir, formal, to people being so at ease and relaxed, and the fireworks. I loved that. I like reminders that Harry and Meghan are really, really deeply in love. Okay. I do have here that it is interesting that the only extended family members who show up in this documentary are the white ones. Now, I think it's definitely possible that the black family members just don't want to be seen or heard from, but they don't even really say positive, except for when they're getting a check from the Daily Mail. It is weird to me that they don't even say and we love Meghan so much, not even through an attorney or anything. I do find that to be strange. I do. Meghan talked about her budding relationship, the relationship that was building right after the marriage to the Queen. She talks about the Queen in only positive ways. Obviously, the daughter is named Lilibet after the Queen's nickname. Okay, seemed to be a really genuine relationship. You see those pictures and the videos, and the Queen really is giggling with Meghan. Meghan seems like a genuinely charming, engaging person. Okay. I have here, I think that Meghan, to me, seems like she has a genuinely good heart and a generous spirit. I also think that Meghan, as an actor, okay, as a person who, had done all these public appearances, who understands what it means to craft an image, I also think she understands what makes a good narrative. And so do I think that that means that her engagements, interactions are not real? No. But I think that you can be genuinely engaged, you can genuinely care, and also understand that how the performance of caring has a positive impact on the institution that you are now trying to maintain. And so this brings us to the different lenses through which people view this documentary and through Meghan. I think you can view this whole thing as a charade. You can view it as a charade if you want to be cynical. You can take the, 100% other side and say, oh, well, she is beleaguered. They are just doing what they can to finally take back their power. She has been so abused. And that's true too. But I really think that we're somewhere in the middle here, right? Look, you don't accidentally marry into the British royal family. You know what I mean? Like, you don't accidentally participate in all of this world building, narrative building. Even the way that she, responds to the press. I think even the way that she handles the royal family is very careful and concerted. But as a lean in girl, you know what I mean? As a problem who, I don't really have a problem with ambitious women doing ambitious things. That doesn't bother me at all. You want something, you get it. You want to take control of the narrative, control it. Be fastidious. You know what I'm saying? Be careful. Be meticulous. Right? Make sure that there is nothing that people can get one up on you. Make sure that there is no dirt that they can get on you. I don't have any problem with that. I think it sometimes stops Meghan. It feels like there's a barrier there because she's invested in that narrative building, that world building, but it is what it is. The same way that we are just now seeing Michelle Obama cut loose and do whatever she wants and wear the braids and wear the I appreciate now that Michelle is dressing so fun. Meghan is not at the Michelle Obama place. So it's gonna be more safe. It's gonna be safer. Can you blame her? No, you can't. Okay? The other thing is, they were talking about how immediately Harry and Meghan were pushed into doing all of this, official work, as representatives of the monarchy. And, the 76 engagements at the Australia tour is crazy. And then, of course, she's pregnant. And there is this constant idea about the comparison between Princess Diana and Meghan Markle. And, they're juxtaposing, images. And Harry, of course, because of his intimate relationship, he's saying, I'm my mother's son and just like my mother and, whatever. But you know what? The biggest difference for me between Diana and Meghan, one, there's the age thing, which I think is so, so important. Diana was brought into the fold when she was a teenager. Meghan was a full-grown divorced lady. Okay, so different. And so also their energy was different. So even when Diana was in her 30s and she had, decided to venture off on her own, the energy was different. Meghan Markle definitely has politician energy, political energy. The way that she speaks, we get little snippets of her saying, her little speeches and the way that she engages with people, very, U.S. politician. Which, yes, as Harry pointed out a few times, is an asset, or it would have been an asset. But also, don't you think it's interesting that Harry, when talking about Meghan coming into this family and then experiencing all of this abuse inside and outside of the firm, that he repeatedly talks about how useful she could have been, how big of an asset she could have been, how much she could have helped the institution. Like, it's true, but also, you done all this anti-racist work, and I believe he's done it and is committed to it, but also, it feels, I think that when people talk about feeling uneasy about the opportunity, feeling uneasy about the opportunism maybe of this, I think that maybe that's some of what people are responding to. Yes, Meghan definitely could have been a useful tool in the continuation of the Commonwealth. You know what I'm saying? Like, she definitely could have been useful to the institution, sure, but also like people are skeptical because we are dealing with people who are not socialized to view themselves as humans, as autonomous beings. They're socialized to view themselves as implements of the monarchy. And again, that doesn't mean that I think they're lying. It just means that I think it's fuzzy. It's complicated. Okay. I have, let's be real, Meghan is the most striking member of the British royal family by far. Yes. And so, of course, you know, that with the fact that she's gorgeous, paired with the fact that she is so engaging, she has that energy around her. Obviously, people are going to be drawn to her. People are going to want to take pictures with her and of her. People are going to want to put her on the front of the magazines. I mean, look, no, we're not going to call up anybody else's physical appearance. We're just going to talk about Meghan. Instant star, that girl. Something else that came up for me was it's very clear that both Harry and Meghan are very plugged into social media. They are reading the briefings. You know how Donald Trump does not read the briefings? They're reading it, because the way that Harry was able to say, and there were 25 headlines where the media compared Meghan and Catherine, and then they said this, and then the avocado things. They're really into it. I think for better or for worse. Okay. Oh, the other thing is the media literacy part of it. When Meghan was saying that she was so gobsmacked that people were actually believing this, man, we've got to talk about media literacy. First of all, our brains are not wired to encounter this much stuff. We're just not supposed to be trying to take in this much information at any given time. Okay. So that's one obstacle, mental obstacle that so many of us have to overcome that kind of fries our brains. But also, we just have real bad media literacy. And it's not just the racist white women in the UK. I see all the time on Instagram and Twitter and on TikTok now, people share things that are very obviously false, but be real confident about it. Real confident in the retweet, real confident in the share, pontificating on it, things that have no sources, completely unverified, literally running with somebody's random thought. And that has very, very dire consequences, particularly for women, because we are socialized not to believe women. So we saw the low-level media literacy interact with the socialized misogyny. We see it with Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. We see it with Harry and Meghan. We see it today with Meghan and Tory Lanez. The fact that people have, one, no incentive to tell the truth on social media, no incentive to source things to verify, but then they're also primed to believe things that paint women as liars, cheaters, stealers, deceivers, manipulators. And so when that stuff reaches these women, it fucks up their real lives. And then we say, well, you're famous, so you can take it. Let's go to the comments. Ooh, let's go. The garbage I've seen on Twitter and the Meghan hate accounts, it's truly some of the most insane stuff I've ever read. I believe it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so we get to the point where things change for Meghan. The conversation around her becomes really, really overwhelmingly negative. She can't help it that she's beautiful and gorgeous and glowing and a natural star, and people gravitate to her. She is then undermined from within the institution, from within the firm, okay? And then the press runs with it. I do have a problem with the fact that it is not hit harder that she is undermined from within the institution, and all of the people who had the ability to stop it, including the Queen, including Prince Charles, did not. I think it's weird that the Queen gets a pass. Is she with it or is she not with it? Is she engaged or is she not engaged? Because we're trying to tell both stories and you can't tell both stories at the same time. Is she getting the briefings about what's happening or is she not? Okay. So we see that Meghan literally says she was fed to the wolves. And I did think that when Meghan is talking about the deterioration of her mental health and her desire, trigger warning, suicide, when she is having very, clear thoughts, suicide ideation, I also thought that, first of all, I think we should all know, I'm just going to reiterate, if somebody says to you, I want to kill myself, and this is why, red flag, red alert. And then the next step above that is I want to kill myself and this is how I'm going to do it. That's the world stops. Just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying? Just so y'all can be on the lookout for that. Okay. I think when telling the story about that period when Meghan is very suicidal, I think storytelling wise, it was very important to have Doria come in and say, she told me she wanted to kill herself. Right? It's kind of like in trials when they bring a psychiatrist or a psychologist on the stand so that they can go through their notes and say, on this day, so-and-so said this to me. It lends credibility to the claim. And I'm sure because Liz Garbus is a real director that was intentional. Okay. So then we get that, yes, the firm, the other, principals, really meaning, is it Charles? It's not really Charles. It's more Catherine and William, that they are throwing Meghan under the bus in order to save themselves. Now, this documentary kept it classy, but something that, y'all can go off on, your own little tangents is that there has allegedly been a lot of discord between not only William and Harry, but Catherine and Meghan. Discord about all kinds of things, about dresses, about, whatever. There was a story at one point that said, Meghan made Catherine cry. We don't really get into that, but that is a thing. Okay, so that was that. So the split between the public-facing, the philanthropic work that William and Catherine are doing, and the public-facing work that Harry and Meghan were doing, that was inevitable. We saw that. Okay, I also have here going back to, so by now, right, Meghan is really, really pregnant. She wants to go to an institution, the good kind, a mental health care facility, we should say, because she is having real suicidal thoughts. They're not going to let her do that because that would make everybody look bad. So she is just, grinning and bearing it. Oh, something I forgot to mention. There was a picture that was shown of Diana on a tour, and it is a picture of Diana being besieged and crying, and Charles smiling. That is sick. Sick. Okay, Charles, hot please. Okay, anyways. So then we get to Meghan is just trying to look for glimmers of hope, and she flies back to the United States for a baby shower. My note here is, wow, that baby shower is white. Now, there were non-white people there. Amal Clooney was there. I did see, an Asian face or two, but we've already been over it. It was Serena Williams and Serena Williams. Okay. The other thing about this is people are like, well, how would she befriend? And I'm like, nah, but how did she befriend Amal Clooney? Amal Clooney is not an actor. Is Amal Clooney just hanging out on sets? Anyways, I said that to say you pick your friends, you choose who you want to be close with, and you make a relationship. Amal Clooney lives in Italy. Anyways, so then we get Archie's birth, cute little nugget that turned into like the whole thing about where Meghan was going to give birth and where she was going to do the photo call. Just absolutely crazy. Just absolutely ridiculous. Who cares? Wait a couple of days. Though, the woman is, is she, how old was she when she, 37 maybe? When she had Archie? Geriatric pregnancy. There's no problem with her wanting to be in a space that she felt comfortable with, surrounded by people she felt comfortable with when she delivered her first child. Crazy. And the idea that they could not figure out a way to set up all of this stuff for the photo call at Meghan's chosen hospital, bullshit. Please. We don't believe you. Okay, so finally, I wanted to, the final thing about this section is, I have some visual aids. Here we have the beautiful, I love this image, that picture from their wedding. Not into that dress at all. Again, I was so touched by how connected they were at the wedding. They, meaning Harry and Meghan, were. Do I love this, color scheme? No, don't love it, but it's cool. I think Doria looked amazing. Loved that suit. I believe, if, my tabloid knowledge is up to date, that Catherine and Meghan got into a little bit of a row over the flower girl dresses, I believe. We see everybody. That's a beautiful image. Love that. Next, let's go to the very controversial photo call. Meg actually looks really good here. Looking extra Negro, hair not exactly, super pressed here. Happy, whatever. Love that for them. Archie. Okay. And also they knew from the very beginning that they were going to give Archie a different life because Archie has a last name. Harry does not legally have a surname. It's not Mountbatten Windsor. That's not it. He does not legally have a surname. Okay. Finally, I was really moved by rewatching this clip from their Australia tour. Or maybe it wasn't Australia, but they were filming a documentary about the work that Harry and Meghan were doing to support the Commonwealth, and I re-watched this clip and I just found it to be really sad.
Perhaps you could just give us an idea of what the last year has been like. I guess that's a where would you start question, but give it a go.
It's hard. I don't think anybody can understand that. But in all fairness, I had no idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand here. But when I first met my now husband, my friends were really happy because I was so happy. But my British friends said to me, "I'm sure he's great, but you shouldn't do it because the British tabloids will destroy your life." And I very naively, I'm American, we don't have that there. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not in tabloids. I didn't get it. So it's been complicated.
Perhaps you could just give us an idea of what the last year is.
I liked that. I liked that moment of, ooh, I just put on more lip gloss and I feel like we might be a little, sorry. You know when you're like, when your hair gets caught in your lip gloss? I feel it, but I don't have time to get it. So we're just going to have it. It's just going to have to stay there for a second. I feel it for sure. If y'all are watching this on a big screen, you're going to see it. I'm sorry. I have to do it. Oh, it's there. I see it. Let's get it. Oh, there. We're done. Gosh, Kimberly is just so relatable and real. I am just so relatable, a woman of the people. Okay, yeah, let's move on to episode 5. Here is where I first asked, where is Doria's side of the family? We don't even really, something I did think that was interesting was we don't even really get a lot of references to Doria's side of the family. It's not even just that they don't appear. They're not even discussed. So when Meghan in episode 4 was talking about how she felt a kinship immediately to the Queen because she had spent her paternal grandmother's final years with her. She took care of her paternal grandmother before she died, and we see pictures of the white paternal grandmother. It is weird to me. I gotta call it like I see it. I think it is weird that now we know that Meghan literally was living in a house with Black people, but they're not even referenced. I think that's weird. I think it's weird that Doria and her father lived together in a home that Meghan's grandfather, his aunt, bequeathed to him, and we don't even talk. I just find no mention of that to be weird. I do. Sorry, those are the people you had the most interaction with. Then we see in episode 5, Meghan's dad goes to the press. Fuckboy. So embarrassing. In my last video of this, I talked about, I didn't know if they were going to talk about it. She is so heartbroken by the fact that her father is just acquiescing, working with the press. She writes him a letter. That letter gets sold to the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail publishes it, but they don't really publish it. They publish it in a really heavily redacted way, an altered way, in order to make Meghan look as bad as possible. And certainly Thomas understood what was going to happen as soon as he sold the letter. This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't get. Okay, so initially the tabloids reach out to you. You need $100,000. Okay, you take the money, you pose with the pictures, you pose with the British almanac, whatever. Okay, you're done. You decide to skip your daughter's wedding because you're embarrassed. Okay. But after all of this stuff has happened, after all of this has transpired, to continue to work with the tabloids, to continue to take their money and feed them stories, and to feed them this, there's just a level of psychopathy there, sociopathy there. I'm not a clinician, so I should not use medical terms. There's a level of just ain't shitness that I just don't get. I just don't understand. Okay, the palace tells them not to sue, so it is illegal for the Daily Mail to publish that letter. She wants to sue. We love litigation. We love a litigious queen. The palace tells them not. They eventually decide, they meaning Harry and Meghan, eventually decide to sue despite the palace objection. We love that for them. And then things get real bad. And they decide, Harry and Meghan decide in December of 2019 that they are going to spend Christmas away from the palace, away from the Queen, and they go to Canada. It's amazing. And they come back and realize, no, we can't do this anymore. We have to really be serious about our plans. Now, this is where we really see how horrible the firm is, the institution is, because they were doing everything that they could to try to stay in the fold. I mean, literally, Harry says, hey, use us this way, use us this way. We'll move here. Use us, use us, use us, use us, use us. And they don't want to give an inch. It makes them look really, really bad. Harry says, okay, we're going to, what if we don't take any public money? What if we pay for ourselves? And by the way, the other thing is, I saw somebody tweet like, oh, how would he have done it? So upon Princess Diana's death, she willed William very little because she understood that he is the heir to the throne and he was going to get so much stuff. So she willed the majority of the fortune that she had to Harry. And so he has access to a lot of money. Now, it's not British monarchy money. But like he has a little something. Okay. So they want to move to South Africa. Prince Charles says put it in writing. Harry puts it in writing, and then the South Africa plan leaks. Very obviously being sabotaged by Prince Charles there. Okay. Again, it's not just Charles though. We watched The Crown. We watched it. We know that Elizabeth puts the crown above everything. Everything. And so, trying to give this lady plausible deniability. Look, she did it to her sister and she did it to her grandson. Okay? Same story, different decade. I don't know why we're pretending to be oblivious to that. I don't know why. We know how the lady operated. Okay. So, I mean, that's that on that. Okay. I thought that Harry's description of the Sandringham meeting was really interesting. The calculations that went into making sure that when there was going to be a final meeting about, okay, what are y'all going to do? And are y'all going to leave? And how can y'all stay here? And whatever, that they made sure Meghan was not there. Okay. And then we get there's a point where in the tabloids, the reporting is that William is bullying Harry out of the monarchy. He's bullying Harry out of the family. And then we get the fake joint statement released without Harry's consent that is not true, that they still love each other and everything is cool. William, dastardly, okay? And the money quote from episode 5 is, they were happy to lie to protect my brother, ... They were never willing to tell the truth to protect us. Yeah, but look, only one of those people is going to be king. There's only one person, you know what I mean? Like if you are going up against the person who's going to be the King of England, you're not going to win. Okay? That's life as despair. And then that's when episode 5 is when we get into the depth of the trolling. Some interesting stats there were that 70% of the misinformation that was distributed, I think this is just from Twitter, was disseminated by 83 accounts. Okay, this is why I believe in censorship. I have done, pulled up the empirical data, the research, the scholarship around censorship and deplatforming. What we see is deplatforming does work. It does. It does. That kind of censorship does work. And that's why people don't like it. Okay. So with regard to the race thing, okay, yes, obviously anti-blackness played a huge part in the way that Meghan Markle was perceived, the way that she was metabolized, the way that she was descended upon inside the family and outside of the family. But yes, it also comes up in episode 5 that there's also a class thing. So you are a divorcee, you are mixed race, you're an actress, you're American, right? There's all of these things, all of these layers to why people would feel resentful of Meghan. And so, yeah, the kind of classism. Oh, and I meant to talk about this before, right? I think in a lot of these conversations, I do feel like sometimes UK Black people and American Black people are talking past each other because we do not have an adequate understanding of the way that our different societies function, the different ways that race works, the different ways that class works. Anti-Blackness is global, but the nuances of it, the specificities of it are so contextual, so local. And so even today, when people were clapping back at me, when I simply pointed out, this lady don't really be hanging out with Black women like that. Something I had to think about is that the UK is 3% Black. So when I say it is weird to like not go out of your way to like make deep connections with Black people, I actually understand why there would be immediate defensiveness to that when 3% of the population is Black. It's gonna be real hard for you, even though I do follow some UK girlies who do it. I'm not gonna shout out the people. I really like Nella Rose right now. I'm really into Nella Rose. I listen to the Pressed podcast by the UK girlies. Anyways, there are, the UK girlies do, the Black girls, do link up the influencer girls. But it is going to be significantly harder for you to develop a Black community there than it is here. So your visceral reaction would be, well, what does it matter and whatever. And my visceral reaction when I see somebody, grew up in a community that's 20% Black is, find somebody. You can find somebody. As somebody who grew up in a city that was 8% Black, still my best friend from high school was Black. Still. Anyways. Okay. So, yes. And the thing about, Meghan saying that she feels unsafe, that she feels worried by the people who are tweeting out threats is people are crazy. 99% of violent threats are nothing. We're concerned about the 0.1%, though. Okay. So I think that we get in episode 5 a really clear understanding that Prince Harry was the chooser. Oh, this obsession that people who hate Meghan have with, she plotted on him and she schemed and she triangulated and she knew what she was doing. She wanted to marry a prince. Maybe she did. I don't think so. But even if that's true, he's still the chooser. He still had to want her. So, the idea he's just so naive and dumb and he's, trapped in her spell. No, he's the fucking Prince of England. Even if he's the spare. Okay. I loved the very clear way that they articulated how the family operates. Harry said the family is focused on what it looks like versus what it feels like. I thought that really made things clear. So then they finally decide, Harry and Meghan, that they're out, they're leaving, they're gonna step down, they're willing to relinquish their Sussex titles, they're moving to Canada, and there's this whole kind of rush around them to give up the titles, move out, whatever. I thought that was a really interesting part of the documentary. And, as an aesthetics girl, I was particularly fascinated by Meghan's sartorial transition, the way that she transitioned her dress, going from I'm just trying to fit in, I want to be unassuming, I'm going to wear neutral, to I'm on my way out, so let's make it a rainbow. That's important for me because one, it leads credence to the idea that, you know, the fashion criticism that somebody like a Vanessa Friedman or a Robin Givhan do is important. It's meaningful because how we choose to adorn our bodies does say a lot about what stage we are at in our lives, what we're trying to communicate, where we are mentally. And love her just saying, like, you know, let's, you know, make it Joseph's amazing Technicolor dream coat. Aesthetics absolutely mean things. Fashion means things. My heart really broke for her when she was finally able to break away, you know, on the plane back to Canada. And she said, you know, I collapsed into the bodyguard's arms and said, I tried so hard. I really do believe that she tried. The other idea that she was plotting from the very beginning to rip him away from his family, I don't believe that for 1 second. No, I think that if things had gone well, we would have another 30, 40, 50 years of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex very happily supporting the maintenance of the firm, the British royal family. Okay. I have here, they didn't talk about the Meghan Catherine feud. They did not, because, you know, Betty and Betty and Joan, nothing on Catherine and Meghan. Let's get to episode 6. So they're in Canada, things are going well, but then we get the pandemic and things immediately change. But also in Canada, they are still kind of being threatened. Their security, you know, the family is saying that they are not going to pay for the security anymore, which is crazy, right? Because people know exactly where they're located. So it just does not make sense to me. I understand, you know, we want to follow protocol. We want things to look right. And so maybe we have to make alternative arrangements for how we're going to pay for your security, because you are still very vulnerable and you now have a child that's also very vulnerable. I do not understand, and I don't think that there is any not shady explanation for them meaning Prince Charles or whoever, pulling Harry, Meghan, and Archie's security and making them scramble. No, there's no not nefarious reason for that. You literally are gonna get them killed. You literally are gonna get them kidnapped. Like, what? And it's like, this is your child, this is your grandchild, this is your great-grandchild. Like, okay, you don't like Meghan, whatever. Do you think that your son should die because he doesn't want to live in the UK anymore? Okay, so they then have to flee Canada. They have nowhere to go. And Meghan calls in a favor from a little man, a big man actually, named Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry swoops in, saves the day, lets them live in his Los Angeles mansion. Man, Tyler Perry is living good. And the other thing about Tyler Perry is, people know that I've had my critiques of Tyler Perry. I still have them. But multiple things can be true. Tyler Perry is I think, fundamentally good, generous financially, not with, writing credit or, professional opportunities, but a good, generous man who makes bad art. Yeah, I've heard lots of stories about Tyler Perry doing the right thing and helping people and giving people, not behind the scenes, not like Black creatives, opportunities. And I think that this is just another example of him being that kind of person. But also, Tyler is not dumb. Yeah, help Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, you get things. Social capital, whatever. Okay. I also thought it was interesting that Tyler Perry, when talking about what was happening to Meghan and Harry, he described the British royal family as abusers. Yeah, abuser tactics. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, basically they were trying to coerce them into coming back. They were trying to initially coerce them into, acting right. And then after Harry and Meghan said, "Oh no, we're out of here," they were trying to coerce them, Harry and Meghan, into returning. For sure. Abusive. But Tyler Perry is the only person who names that. Again. Okay. I thought it was interesting that when Harry and Meghan moved from Canada to LA, the British royal family, the institution, the firm, did not know about it. And I loved then seeing them being able to relax and have fun and just enjoy really quotidian moments, enjoy a little bit of normality. And again, it was clear for me again in episode 6 that I keep repeating this because I think that like a marriage like filled with love is like in that family is like kind of rare. Like, do I think that William and Catherine are like snuggling up and like looking into each other's eyes and telling each other how much they love each other and like kissing under the moonlight? No. Charles and Camilla might, they fought for that love. So they might be snuggled up, but not William and Catherine. Okay? So, it's we love here. Okay. I loved the coincidence of Harry and Meghan announcing their second baby on Valentine's Day 2021 and the news breaking that Diana was pregnant with her second baby being Harry on Valentine's Day 1984. Life is so crazy. Life literally is nuts. The fact that nobody had any idea that was going to happen. Things are divine. The other thing that circulated on the blogs was, Beyonce texting Meghan after the Oprah sit down with, you're breaking generational curses, which sounds exactly like something Beyonce would say. Beyonce loves to talk about a generational curse, okay? So we're going to round this out by the British royal family, meaning Philip, Elizabeth, Charles, Camilla, William, Catherine. Racist, very much racist. They are very much a racist family. Okay. I, a couple days ago, listened to a Black British woman say that you cannot be an ally to Black Brits if you are unwilling to clearly, full-throatedly say that this family is racist. And I thought that was compelling to me. I was compelled by that. Prince Philip dies. Harry has to go back to the UK. Prince Philip dies. Harry has to go back to the UK. There's another blow up. I'm sure some more racist things were said. Lilibet Diana is born in 2021 summer. Tyler Perry, this is another big reveal. Tyler Perry is the godfather of Lilibet Diana. I think that's fitting. Yeah. Look, he stepped in, swooped in, saved the day. Okay. It is clear to me, finally, the end of this, I keep saying finally because I just have so many thoughts. So the end of this is about Meghan finally winning her lawsuit against the Daily Mail. They did unlawfully publish what was supposed to be a private letter. And in leading up to that final legal victory, an aide to William testifies in a manner that aids the Daily Mail. It is very clear that to this day, the office of William and Catherine is attempting to sabotage, undermine sink Harry and Meghan. It's clear. I have questions about, like, so how long is this gonna go on? You know what I mean? Like, is this just gonna be how they live forever and ever? You know how, like, when Edward abdicated the throne, he was just gone forever? Like, never welcomed back in. Is that gonna be the same kind of situation here? I can kind of imagine it being that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can kind of imagine this going on forever and ever and ever. But it's nice to see them happy, doing normal things. I'm glad that Meghan was able to get a little bit of peace and privacy before she, delivered her second baby. She has more control. Hashtag love wins. Okay, so my next little ancillary thoughts. I did have some random thoughts about, the race stuff and the lack of racial awareness, because I think being treated in the world a certain way is one thing. I do think Meghan might be feigning a little bit the lack of racial awareness or an intimate understanding of it. It's just hard for me to believe that you grew up in LA, even if it was a wealthy part of LA, in the late 80s, early 90s, OJ time, Latasha Harlan's time, Rodney King time. I don't know. I think people, to not be radicalized by that, I think is really interesting. I did. But, she's told us where she, which side of the street she prefers to stand on. She has, I just find that to be fascinating. And what else do I have? Oh, everybody is racist in this family, including Queen Elizabeth, who should be taken to task in life and in death. That was my final note. Yeah, that's truly, that's the takeaway for me, you guys. We're gonna do, it's been over 2 hours here. Wow, wowza. Okay, we're gonna do a final, review of the comments, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. I don't understand why these people want to keep lying about being racist. Yeah. Nah, I believe it, Kim. As someone who was raised around people like that, she def lived in a we are the world fantasy. I have no choice but to believe it. It's just something. It's very much something. Okay. The Crown is pro-monarchy propaganda. I watch it, but it's not surprising that people leave the show being monarchist. I think, it really depends, because there are people who really hate the Crown because they think that it is, that it paints the monarchy in a bad light. Right? Was it Dame Judi Dench who said something to that effect? Another one of those dames, actress dames, who said that The Crown is irresponsible in its portrayal of the British monarchy. So I came away, as somebody who knew very little about any of this story, I came away feeling empathy, certainly, for Elizabeth. Definitely more empathy than I felt before. But I do feel more suspicious, right? Yeah. But also, my orientation is an anti-colonial, anti-imperialist orientation. So that is always going to be in my mind. If you don't have that orientation, okay, think it back. I do understand how you could be swayed. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong, you're right. Okay, let's go back up. When Beyonce sends something, why must every celebrity let the world know? Social capital. I keep using the word social capital. Obviously, I've been reading a lot of Bourdieu recently. But like, yeah, you get things from being associated with Beyonce. So I am not mad. Post your Ivy Park package, post your flowers, post your notes, tell the world about the text messages. I understand. Okay, what else? Oh. Have you heard recent comments about Meghan from a male celebrity in England saying she needs to walk naked through every town and have certain things thrown at her? I mean, these people need to let their Game of Thrones fantasies go. It's just a show. Yeah, I did hear about that. Why do you feel that the Queen is definitely racist? Now, come on. Now, come on. Come on. Yeah, definitely racist. Okay. I didn't like when Harry said the institution missed an opportunity to use Meghan as a representative of the firm for the Commonwealth. Like, what was the opportunity? Furthering the colonial project? Yes, that is exactly the opportunity, Courtney. Okay. Anything else? Getting confirmation that the royal family was making moves to hurt them and punish them at every turn was wild. William screaming at Harry, taking their security away while they were in Canada. Yes, absolutely vile. Absolutely inexcusable. There is no defense of that. It really does hurt them and damage them. And I do feel like we are going to see William and Catherine on kind of an image restoration tour for the next couple of years. So I remember reading about in the New York Post. I remember, the most legitimate and credible magazine or tabloid, them, flying commercial to the United States. Catherine wearing a dress that she'd worn before, upcycling, recycling, reducing their carbon footprint, not doing, super rich people things. I think that they are very, I even saw, did y'all see the latest Christmas card picture? Let's pull this up. Man. Yeah, let's pull this up. The William and Catherine Christmas card picture. Because I thought, it's not giving what you think it's giving. Okay. So it's very obvious that they are trying to sell us an image of relatability, not your grandma's monarchy. So here we are. Flats, tennis shoes, shorts, jeans. Like, no, that's not you. It's not you, Catherine. This is not you. We know it's not you. We know. When I think of, a cool mom, relaxed mom, I do not think of, Catherine, Princess of Wales. I don't. Be yourself, honey. So yeah, they are trying to be very intentional about making us believe that they are more normal. Okay. Taking away security was wild, especially because Meghan and Harry have 2 babies. Yeah, I think at that time they had 1 baby, but weird. Okay. I feel like Harry also gained a lot of acceptance and goodwill for being married to Meghan. I definitely think he gained more from the union than her. Um in some ways, yeah. Yeah. I think Meghan was Harry's opportunity to set himself apart. I think they really are in love, but she's so different in every way. Again, American, half black, actress, divorcee. So, and then he gets to say, I got my own mind. I want to be the one in control. I want to be the one in control, like Janet Jackson says. Yes. Yeah, I definitely think, when Harry is talking about the usefulness of Meghan, the potential usefulness of Meghan to the monarchy, the unsaid thing is like how useful Meghan was to him personally. I agree with you there. As long as H&M are popular in the public eye, William and Kate aren't going to let up. They don't like being overshadowed since they're the future monarchs. I believe that. Oh, I'm also not denying that William and Kate are popular. I believe that. Yeah. I'm saying that they're popular because they are the monarchs, and from my understanding, based on the polling I've seen, most of the British public are monarchists. But the sheer star power, I don't believe that neither William or Kate have the sheer star power that a Meghan Markle, an actual star, has. And people love celebrity. They just do. They like the glow, they do. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question. So confused how the Paps found out they were at Tyler's place. Well, I mean, after a certain amount of time, you do have staff there, like in order to maintain a property that large, there are people going in and out of the property quite a bit, So I just think something's gonna leak. It's impossible. They're not living in a shack. Like, they're not living in an apartment. Okay, anything else? Ooh, okay. They're not going to get into this, but I did have some particular questions about the financial transition, right? Like, I would love to know, how did the money stuff, oh, let me hide this. How exactly did the money stuff get sorted, Were they taking on loans? I'm sure that, they signed the deal with Netflix. Netflix gives them, I don't know, millions and millions of dollars. I don't know. How did that get sorted? Elizabeth didn't even have that star power. I don't get Will and Kate's obsession with being popular. Is it necessary to be the monarch? Yeah, I think it is necessary to be the monarch. I think that a central job of monarchs is reputation management. Because, like, if you have a weak reputation, then you have a weak monarchy. I think one thing people overlook when looking for a partner is not being honest about if that person will elevate you. I think them both being together really helped them both. Yeah. Yeah. Mutuality. We love it. Okay. Meghan is the only self-made multimillionaire to marry into the family. Interesting. Okay, we're going to do this for 5 more minutes. We're going to end when my clock says 2 hours and 30 minutes, because wow. She loves some skinny jeans. Are you talking about Kate? Okay, y'all are talking about the photo. You know, and also it's really reminiscent of Harry and Meghan's Christmas card last year. I don't think Charles will be as popular as his mother. No, I don't even think that that's possible. No. One, you know, I think a part of, not me speculating as like a total American, but it seems to me that a part of the appeal of Queen Elizabeth was, one, her father died so suddenly. She was like, you know, pushed into this so young, and everything she did was to protect the monarchy. Yeah, there's just like a respect, you know. And now we're having more conversations about, you know, whiteness and colonialism. No. And he's not, you know, remember how on like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim said to Kourtney, "You're the least interesting to look at." I think Charles is the least interesting to look at. Kim was a bitch for that, by the way. Okay. Charles is not a vibe. Okay. Meghan has millions. Kim, are you interested in Harry's memoir? Absolutely not. No. No. I'm good. I watched a 6-hour documentary, you know? I'm good. Okay. Charles has a bad reputation and his wife is worse. Part of the rumor is the Queen wouldn't turn over the crown to Charles because she was ticked about Camilla. I've heard that, but that's not really how it works. Like, people die, you know? Like, you give up the crown when you die. Like, that is tradition. It's very rare that people are just like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Okay. Yeah. The Crown season 5 episode 5 made me think he is probably jealous of Harry getting to live a life he could only dream of. Now, I have not finished season 5 of The Crown, but I will say The Crown season 5 episode 1, I was skeptical. But wow, that was great TV. That was great television. Shout out to Peter Morgan. Okay, we are going to wrap this up now. Thank you guys for tuning in to this supersized edition of Kimberly Talks About foolishness that does not affect her life one bit. What am I going to talk about next? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I'll be back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. Cop some merch. The Are Y'all Okay merch. This is the set. Can I kick up my leg? In Dusty Rose. I like to kick, stretch, and kick. You can, cop merch, cop a sticker, cop a notebook, cop a phone case. Thank you to everybody who has done that already. Thank you to my haters. I like to thank all my haters. Oh, okay. This is a random story. So, I randomly decided to hop into a restaurant near where I live to get some food because I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten all day, and I was at my stylist for way longer than I was planning to be there. So I was walking home. I popped into this restaurant right around the corner, and I sit down, and I happen to see there's a black man there. I see him, and then I turn, and it happens to be somebody that I know that I've worked with before, and he says, oh, if it's not the smartest woman in Dallas or something like that. Or he said the smartest woman on the internet. and I said, top 10, And he said, what I really appreciate about you, Kim, is I don't always agree with you. People always have to say, I don't always agree with you. It's okay, it's fine. But I really love how much you enjoy yourself. And he said, I hope that's real. And I said, oh, it is. It is real. In fact, I got to temper it for the public, okay? In fact, I have to really rein it in and restrain myself sometimes, because if you hate this, you would not want to see Uncensored Kimberly. You would not fuck with that girl at all if you don't like this Kimberly. But yes, love what you do what you love yourself, be proud of yourself, take care of yourself, celebrate yourself. If you don't, nobody else is going to do it. Appreciate yourself. Life is short. It's too short to not indulge your dopeness. It's too fucking short. Okay, but also, I also have a growth mentality. I have a growth mindset. I think I'm always trying to get better and do better, and I'm a perfectionist about so many different things, and I feel like there's so much more that I want to do and will do, and there's so many ways that I can improve. And I think that if you have followed me over this year, you have seen me put in so much work into getting better, into becoming a better live streamer, like making this a more quality experience, into being able to refine my thoughts, into, just finally saying I need help. I need medication, getting on medication at 33, invest myself into building new relationships with Black women where I live, throwing parties, throwing events, right? Like, I feel like all of this is about me iterating, you know what I mean? Learning, growing. So anyways, that's that on that. We'll end on that note. I will see you guys next time.